Test.
No, it's working.
Alright. Everything okay? You're on the phone late on Friday.
Yeah, no, it's just complicating. Nothing. Just once. And that other call was I inadvertently dialed my daughter. So she didn't answer at the time, and then she called me back. I said, "No, I didn't mean to call you. So, you don't want to talk to me?" I said, "No."
How old is she and where does she live?
She is 25 and lives in New York City.
Oh, okay. Where in New York City?
They both live in New York City. That one lives in Brooklyn, and the younger one, who's 23, lives in Manhattan,
Oh,
on the
nice.
west side. So,
Wow, alright. One of my boys, the 30-year-old, lives in Queens, currently as a student.
Good. What's he doing?
I'm working on a PhD in clinical psychology
Where?
at Stony Brook.
Cool. So he's commuting out.
Yeah, they're in a phase of, they're done with coursework, so what
Yep.
we do is they're, we call them externships.
Right.
Yeah, so,
That's good. Yeah, you don't want to live in Stony Brook. I mean, it's okay. It's really suburban.
yeah, he did not like it at all.
Yeah, a friend of mine taught there for several years.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. How what?
Political science. Same thing I was in. He was my grad school roommate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he left. We both left political science about the same time. He stayed in Long Island. I stayed in Iowa. Both pursued other avenues.
Yeah, wow. So you ended up doing this. What did your roommate end up doing?
He went into public opinion research, working basically in the magazine business. So he worked for a long time for Time magazine, or Time Incorporated, which kept changing its ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So he was doing a lot of consumer research for the magazine business.
school.
I think so. Yeah.
Huh? Something to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to connect up your guitar?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I don't think it's necessary. You know, it'll be picked up by the microphone.
Yeah.
But,
I'm gonna
and I
call
think when
this-
you have the other musician, it's more of an issue than
Yeah.
mixing. Okay.
I'll just keep it simple.
No problem.
write a teshuva. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. I asked him to please write a teshuva for the congregation. If anybody asks, is it kosher to play a musical instrument on Shabbat? I wanted there to be an answer for people, and that was out in the vestibule for I think about a year, and I expected there to be a little pushback, but there wasn't any. Hi, Corin. Hi. Oh, hello. See you. So I suspect it's going to be very few of us. I like how close you're sitting.
What's up with this?
I think we're a little serviced out between High Holy Days and Sukkot and Simchat Torah just last night and this
I
morning.
see.
I think Dana will be coming.
Okay.
One more.
Okay. Great. Well, I think we'll just begin. Okay. Not that I need it, but I'm going to turn on the microphone. Okay. Ya la la, ya la la, la la, la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la, la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la, la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la la la. La la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, la la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Welcome. So nice to see you all here. Coming back for Shabbat renewal after a whole season of renewal that we all have gone through together. It's nice to start out again. A little bit later, I'm going to be referring to the opening of the Torah, the book of, and the chapter Breshit, which opens the Torah, to see what it might teach us about this coming year, what insights we can draw. But for now, a very short teaching. This one has to do with, hello Dana, good Good Shabbos, welcome. Avram, welcome. This will connect with our teaching about Breshit closer to the end of our service. So, right now we find ourselves at the beginning of a new year. The year 5785. Yep, I'm correct, 5785. And with a new year comes new possibilities. Something coming in the future and we don't know what it is. Now, sometimes when we think about the future, we get a little bit anxious because we don't know what it holds, what it portends. And sometimes when we think about the future, we find ourselves feeling really hopeful and excited because we can almost picture the fulfillment of our cravings for reliability and safety, connection, cooperation, and togetherness. There's an interesting teaching that comes from Gematria, the Jewish practice of words that are equated to numbers. Okay, so it begins like this. When we're at a point in time where the future is before us and we don't know how it's going to go, it can go one way, it can go the other. What anchors us is the Hebrew word for anchor, which is ogen, spelled ayin, gimel, nun. Good Shabbos, Michal. Good Shabbos, Josh. Welcome. Ayin, gimel, nun. This is the Hebrew word for ogen, which means anchor. And when we're at a point in time and we don't know what the future holds, it could go one way or it could go the other, we look to be anchored somehow, psychologically. Now, interestingly, if you take these three letters, ayin, gimel, nun, and you reorder them, you get two different words. The first of those words is nega, nun, gimel, ayin, which is associated with the concept of suffering. So one way in which this anchor can be reconfigured is it could portend a future of suffering, which might cause us to feel anxious. However, if you take the same three letters and you order them in a slightly different way, you get oneg, ayin, nun, gimel, which it might be a little familiar in some of your ears. We call an oneg after services something celebratory, something wonderful, something we get to look forward to, something that contains in it a word of blessing. So when we find ourselves betwixt and between, and we're seeking to anchor ourselves, and we know the future might hold some suffering and it might hold some joy, there's always that anchor that we can come back to find our footing. Yedid nefesh. Yedid nefesh. Avarachaman. Nishach avdecha. El ritzonecha. Yarutz avdecha kimo aya. ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Continuing with Shira Chadasha, Lechu Naranana, Psalm 95. Lechu Naranana, L'Adonai, Nariya Letzor Yishenu, Nikadma Fana B'toda Bizmirot Nariya Lo Arbaim Shana Akut Bedor V'yom Aram Toei Levavein V'hem Lo Yadu Dirachai Asher Nishpati V'Api Yivon El Menuchati Ya'aloz Sadai, a psalm about how we join in with all of nature, including the mountains themselves as they dance. So do we, so do our souls. Ya la 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 la, ya la ya la ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la ya la la la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la la. sensibility of the song that doesn't quite resolve. And then we arrive in Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Let's sing unto Source something new. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya ya la 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 la. Ya la la ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la. Ya la la ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash Ki niflaot asa Hoshia lo yemino Uzroa kodesho ayai Hodia Adonai Yeshuato Le'enei agoyim gila tzikato Oh Zachar kasto ve'emunato Leveit Yisrael Ya la 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 Ya la la Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la la Ya la 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 Oh 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 Ya la 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 oh 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 ya la oh 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 Ya la 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 oh As we move from new songs, we realize that sometimes we trip over our tangles. And so we arrive at Anabakoach, where we ask God for help untying our tangles. And so to prepare ourselves to even ask, we take a moment of slow, deep breathing, settling our feet flat on the ground, sitting up straight in our chairs, not overly straight, but neither are we slouched, with our chins neither tipped up nor down, but just comfortably straight forward. And take a slow, deep breath all the way in, letting it out even more slowly. Take in your next breath slowly all the way in, perhaps making it the largest, deepest breath of your whole day, letting it out even more slowly than you took it in. These slow, deep breaths give our bodies a means of restoring themselves to a state of relaxation. Something that our systems long for all day long. And yet, until this very moment, we might not have realized how much tension we were carrying in our bodies. So with one last breath, allow your hands to fall by your sides and give your fingers a little bit of a shake. And on that slow exhale, let go of all that you no longer need in this moment. See if you can tap into that sense of refreshment that resides right here, right now. welcoming the ease that is Shabbat. Ana b'choa gedulat yamincha tatir tzurura ya la 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 kaberina amcha sadvenu tohoreinu nora ya la la la. Source of mercy, with loving strength, untie our tangles, ya la 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 la. Raise us up, oh hear our hearts' cries, accept our heart's song, ya la la la. Shabbatenu kabel, ushma tzakatenu, yodei talumod, ya la la la, ya la la. Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto, Leolam va'ed, ya. B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha dodi likrat kala yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Ishmi'anu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem U'Letiferet Ve'Litchila L'Echad Dodi Likrat Kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat L'Echad Dodi Likrat Kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mikor ha'beracha Mirosh mikedem Nesucha Sof ma'aseh B'machshava techila L'echad dodi likrat kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat L'echad dodi likrat kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Hitoreri Hitoreri Kiva orech Kumi ori Uri Uri Shir daveri Kivod Adonai alayich nigla L'echad dodi likrat kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat L'echad dodi likrat kala Yalala 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 B'nei Shabbat Kabbalat. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'alam, gam b'simcha u'v'tzor olam. Toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Yalala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela. Lechadodi kakala, yalala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela. Mizmor Shir, Psalm 92, a psalm of gratitude for the things that really touch our hearts. And as we prepare to enter into Shabbat together, I'd like us to turn to a neighbor, perhaps even somebody who you don't recognize and you don't know who they are. Share your name and share one thing that you are grateful for as we enter into Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom to you all, and we can continue the conversations after services conclude. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha balelot. Lehagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha balelot. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha balelot. Lehagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha balelot. La ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la. So let's rise up together to sing the Baruch Hu as a community. Starting with as we bless the source of life. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And our blessing gives us strength and makes our visions clear. And our blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro mariv haravim. Sacred words, even the evening. Wisdom opens gates locked around our hearts. Asher bidvaro mariv haravim. B'chokhmat poteach she'arim. Evening, the evenings, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv, haravim, amen. Understanding alters with the times, changing seasons, cycles divine. Uvidvuna meshaneitim, umachalif et hazmanim. Evening, the evenings, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv, haravim, amen. Spirit of the night, we bless your name. Eternal light, eternal flame. El Chai v'Kayam tamid yimloch aleinu, le'olam va'ed. Evening, the evenings, evening the frayed edges of our lives. Ma'ariv, haravim, amen. Baruch atah Adonai, hamariv haravim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisroel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. V'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'vetecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot ben einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tizkeru v'yasitem ekol mitzvotai v'tem giroshim leloechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Continuing with a celebration of our freedom. Micha mocha. ya la la la, ya la 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 la, yam ba yam ba ba bam, ya ba yam ba yam ba bam bam bam, ya ba yam ba bam, ya ba ya bam bam bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokea yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, Yalai lai lai la la la, Yalai lai lai lai, Yalai lai lai la la la, Yalai lai lai, Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. As we seek to extend this prayer of freedom, the celebration of freedom, to perhaps those who don't yet have it, we enter into Hashkivenu, and we pray that those around the world, those who we know and perhaps those we don't even know, may they lay themselves down in a state of peace, and may they rise up to life. Take a moment to take into your hearts whoever you're thinking about in this moment who could use that prayer for peace, for life. Ushmor tzedkenu vo'enu l'chayim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. Ushmor tzedkenu vo'enu l'chayim u'l'shalom, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam, me'ata ve'ad olam. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, la'asot et haShabbat b'dorotam. Eini uvim b'nei Yisrael od hi le'olam, ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, u'vayom asheri Shabbat le'inafash. Yikadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah Yamad Yivrach Yirutei B'Yimlich Malchutei B'chayechon Uvyomechon Uvchayei D'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv Imru Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam U'yomei Amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel Shemei T'kudisha La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yama v'imru. We continue with the Amidah. Please rise. The Amidah in the evening is silent. You're invited to try one of three strategies. The first is to put down all paper and simply pray the prayer of your heart. The second, if you care to have just a little backbone of guidance, you can use the yellow sheets that you're holding. They provide a little kavanah, a little intention for each of the 7 components of the Shabbat Amidah. Finally, if you'd rather daven out of the Siddur, we find the Amidah, pages 47 to 52. Shalom, Yaseh So here we sit at the cusp of a new, fresh year, filled with possibilities, filled with our hopes, perhaps also with our anxieties, since none of us knows what the future exactly holds. Here, we're going to learn from a couple of teachers tonight who explore this notion of what it means, what's the significance of the fact that the future is filled with all kinds of potentialities. The first one we're going to learn from is Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, an 18th century Hasidic master who loved to teach in the form of parables. But tonight, instead of learning from a parable from him, we're actually going to instead learn from him based on the first word of the Torah, which we read at Simchat Torah, and we will also be reading tomorrow morning during services. Who here remembers what the first word is? Bereshit, right, which means in the beginning. That's how it's typically interpreted, translated. Well, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev realized if you took apart this word, Bereshit, and you separated the letter bet from the word Reshit, then you get bet, and the word Reshit means beginning. What does bet stand for? Bet is the second letter of the alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet. And according to Gematria, Aleph is the number 1, Aleph being the first letter, the second letter bet is number 2, etc., etc. So bet is 2. So in this way, the Reb Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev taught that the word Bereshit can be interpreted to mean 2 beginnings. There are 2 beginnings to our Torah. Now his teaching would go on, I'm going to remove this for a moment. His teaching would go on to talk about how fundamentally in Judaism, our 2 beginnings are written Torah and oral Torah. Written Torah being the Torah as we are handed down, anything in writing, Tanakh, the scroll that we read from on Shabbat morning. Oral Torah, it's a misnomer because it also happens to be much of it written down, but the essence of it, the ikar of oral Torah, is interpretation. So in this way, 2 beginnings weds the tradition as it's handed down with our fundamental right as Jews, as participants in this heritage that we've inherited, to interpret it freely. Not just for the ancient rabbis of 2,000 years ago, but even us in this room today. But that's not the direction of this teaching. I was just interested in the fact that he made something out of this notion of Bereshit, Bet, Reshit, 2 beginnings. So there are 2 beginnings to this story of creation, as we've just learned, which harkens to the multiple possibilities that the future might hold for us. So the Berdichever's teaching was that the future is not cast in cement. There is fluidity to time and to circumstance, and we play a part in bringing about the future that we seek. Building on this point comes a modern-day interpreter, Rabbi Rami Shapiro, and he addresses how. In this book, Judaism Without Tribalism, came out 2 years ago. And Rabbi Rami Shapiro talks about there being 2 key things that we can do to bring about the future that we wish for. And what are they? He begins as his starting point, I will tell you in a moment, he begins as his starting point also in the book of Bereshit, in the opening of Torah, where he says, quote, "All life is tohu vavohu." Now for those of you who don't recognize that phrase from Torah, Bereshit barat Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created all of creation, and then it says, all of creation was tohu vavohu, chaos and void, intrinsically fluid, chaotic, and, as Shapiro puts it, beyond our willful control. Yet, he says, despite the fact that we don't have control over the future, we are, as Jews, nevertheless called to do two key things. The first key thing is going to sound familiar to you because you will have heard this concept over and over again over the High Holy Days. We are called, Shapiro says, to do teshuvah. And I like how he defines it. What are, by the way, show of hands, what are the understandings that we have of teshuvah? What does it mean? There. Return, repentance. Anything else? Yeah, that's pretty good. That covers a lot of ground right there. Return and repentance. Rami Shapiro defines it as returning to our true nature. Returning to our true nature. And what does he base this on? On the fact that in creation, as God is creating humankind, one of the two creation stories that we find in our Parsha Bereshit, is that we are created B'Tselem Elohim, in the divine shadow is one interpretation. Shapiro says we are created as Tselem Elohim, which he interprets as, or translates as, manifestings of the divine. We are each of us manifestations of the divine. The same way that waves are manifestations of the ocean. Part and parcel of it, they seem distinct waves, and yet they fall back into the larger ocean. And just as we might seem distinctive in our lifetimes, we also are part and parcel and expression of divinity, as is all existence. So this act of teshuvah means returning to our true nature as we were born to manifest in this incarnation, as some of my teachers would put it. So that's one thing that we are called to do. The second thing that we are called to do is to help better our surroundings. Anyone guess what this phrase is going to be in the Hebrew? To help better our surroundings? Tikkun olam, which means repair of the world. Yeah, repairing the world. So Shapiro teaches that through teshuvah, returning to our true nature, and tikkun olam, repairing the world, we fulfill God's vision, which he also draws out of Genesis chapter 12, which is, I think, Lech Lecha, a couple parashiot ahead of us. God's vision for us, which is to be a blessing to all the families of the earth and to the earth itself. So that's our challenge. How can we be a blessing to all the peoples of the earth and to the earth itself? And he says by doing teshuvah, by returning to and being true to our true nature, and also by doing acts of tikkun olam, repairing and restoring the world, leaving it a little bit better, perhaps, than we found it. Repairing just that sliver that we and only we were meant to fix. So may this new year be a year of blessing, of hope, and please God, of peace. Shabbat Shalom. Poetry or song for Aleinu? Okay, I hear somebody vote for song. Okay, we rise for this alternative Aleinu. V'hashevota. And by the way, these Hebrew words, v'hashevota el levavecha, this also has to do with a sense of returning. V'hashevota, and you shall return el levavecha, either to your hearts, or you shall return your heart to your source. Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, for divinity is God. One interpretation. All right, and I'm going to make it a little lower. V'hashevota Hashevota. Elevavecha, elevavecha, ki Adonai, ki Adonai, hu ha'Elohim, hu ha'Elohim, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. At this time, we call to memory those whose lives we've carried tenderly in our hearts and who are no longer with us, at least in living form. Yard sites for this week include Henry Abt, Jacques Heinz Ehrenheim, Ivan Ball, Jeanette Bash, Howard Brickman, Frank Cohen, Jack Cohen, Sandra Davis, Kathy Emmerich, Florence Sachs Finkelstein, Hazel Helen Gilman, Sylvia B. Glicksman, Samuel Gordon, Sophie Hoffman, Julia Isaacs, Rachel Jacobs, Vera Juvovskaya, Jenny Hirsch-Kaufman, Iona Klein, Albert Leibovitz, Jean Mankoff, Nettie Mushowitz, Louis Panish, Leonard Reba, Rivka Rosenthal, Sydney Savage, Marianne Scheiman, Kevin Schiff, Gerald Shom, Irving Schuyler, Dorothy Simon, Jack Soskolny, Dorothy Simon, Sigmund Strochlitz, Max Sussman, and Isidore Winkleman. We're also saying Mourner's Kaddish for Sally Abelson, Gilbert Starosta, William Freeman, Yuval Warshai, Barbara Altman, Judith Elkin, Marian Sachs Jacob, Alan Neil Weiss, Leah Axelrod, Helena Rabinovitz, Barbara George, Howard Rubenstein, Alan Silverman, Otto Weidlinger, Oded Ostfeld, Irving Kaplan, Harvey Goldsmith, Muriel Gluckman, Daniel Goldstein, Eric Austad, Myron Winkleman, Evie Lichter, David Amanoff, Samuel Silver, Shirley Kleiman, Dorothy Friedman, Claire Kirpich, Edward Ball, Dr. Elliot Sorrell, and Joan Moisef Scobie. If you're reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to please rise. Yikadal v'yitkadosh shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yurati v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'olmei amaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitdaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'abiran b'yalma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. May their memories be for a blessing. Jerry, have we any announcements? I can't imagine there's anything to announce, like everything. What's left? What's left?
Shabbat Shalom. I think that the only announcements are we have our regular Shabbat morning
9:30. Sunday morning we have our in-person weekday minion, 9:30 downstairs in the M&M Chapel. Our evening minions, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are at 7:30 on Zoom. Wednesday evening minion is at 6:15 in person or on Zoom. If you choose to come to the in-person minion, that's 6:15 Wednesday, also in the M&M Chapel. Check the website for other events coming up, and wish everyone Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. We're going to do something slightly different for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem is comprised of 4 verses. 2 of them we're going to do with a slightly different melody, and then we'll close the last 2 with the familiar melody. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's it. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shabbat Shalom.